today we're going to talk about, or what I want you to talk about first with a partner is what are some ways you think you could break down these hills? Right. So come with a partner and talk about this. One way you could break down these hills. So you talk with each other first and then we'll talk about Alright, so we want to each group share something to talk about. Go for it. What do you mean by sit? So what do you think will happen when you do, so each person, what do you think will happen when you do those things to the soil? Okay, so how do you think we could experiment with this? What are some things we could use to experiment with this? So what were you saying about water then? Okay. How about we just do, if we did one thing on here and we could test something else on here. So how do you think we would do water? How would we put water on it?
I think you would pour a little lower there because if you
so on top or on
like more below, because if you get below then everything else will fall.
Okay.
If you get it high, maybe that just that stuff will
Okay. Okay. So you think we should do it on the top? Okay. So how would that pressure? Okay. Okay. So when we do this experiment, where do you guys think we should do it? What are the differences? In the middle? So where do you think? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, on both sides.
So you think we should do it in the back? Okay. Well, I think, alright, so I have something we could do.
So you said solid, liquid, gas, and you said...
Alright, so I have a spray bottle. So how do you think we could do this using a spray bottle? Put it in the back. Spray it in the back?
Now there's that pressure, so it won't only move it.
Okay, so how many times do you think you should spray it? You don't have to pick it.
I'd say at least 15.
Will
30, I think, will be
30? Do you think we should spray it, or is there any other way that we could get water on there?
We could pour it, but I don't know if we use too much at a time, we're not going to think how much we're putting in.
So do we want to start by spraying it then? Yeah. Right. So, you want to start? You want to try it?
I think if we're going to switch, we should be able to you just have to hold it up.
Talking about what the difference were between these three drugs.
So what do we do? Do we think it's too spread out? So what could we do to make it not spread out? Okay. Or since this water bottle or this spray bottle only sprays it, so what is something else we could do? Should we try?
You could pick up the time.
Okay. I think we just need what you're gonna do. Sure. Or you want to try spraying it somewhere else first? Because we talk about something here? You know, we're talking about something comparing. So, it may be held, shape,
Like, you know, from the front, you need to go low.
what was that?
I think if you're gonna go from the front, you need to go low.
As long as you know, we'll eventually have to do this later, so I'll lesson it right now, as long as you know which one's jar 1, jar 2.
Alright, so how do we stop there? So do we see anything happening now? Yeah.
And 1.
Alright, so what do we think we should do? Okay, so I have you try.
I think if you go from the side, it might work a little bit.
Okay, so how are we going to do this? So before you pour, so how are we in structure? What do we think we should do now? Or where do we
On the top.
Yeah, just
On the back.
Alright, so how about stop right there? Alright, so what do you think happened now?
Yeah,
What do you mean by
like went down and like collapsed.
Okay. Alright, so what else? What were some other ideas we had? What was that?
Where is it?
Alright, so
You know
what
that
do you
rock
think?
that's over there?
So what do you
Do you have
think
anything else
happened?
heavy like that? 'Cause that's working perfectly.
Alright, so it ended up all coming out. Okay,
It doesn't have to be a rock.
Alright, so we have, this is our first one. So we decided that the water, but what didn't work? Why do we not, why do you think that's great? Alright, so now we have another thing. So what were some of the other ideas we had of how we could get it kind of to break down like this? What are some ways you think you could do it without using your hands or water? Blow it? What do you think would happen if we blew it?
We need a lot. I think it could be kind of like this spray, but when you spray it, it's going to be the same pressure at the time. When you blow, you can't really, there's not a way of knowing.
Okay, so how could we blow it more carefully? Okay, and what did you think? Okay. So are there any other ideas of how we could disperse it without? So what do you think could be, if we didn't do it carefully or if we did do it carefully? What are the outcomes you think that would happen? You don't think it would? Okay.
It wouldn't look like that.
Okay. What do you think is going to be different when we're just using air?
It's still going to be dry. The top will go forward and it'll kind of look like that, but it'll be dry.
What do you mean by okay. So what do we think that this is going to look like at the end when we're done doing this? Right. So
Depends on how much
so say, what was your idea?
I think it's going to be like.
Was this your jar 2?
Well, it depends on how much you do.
Okay. So what would be
What was the similarity between?
So.
okay? So how are so I do have a tool for this. All right. So I have straws.
Okay,
So how do you think this will affect it now that we have this tool?
It's not like when your mouth is wider, there's more coming out at a time.
Okay. Okay. All right, so now we're going to try this one. So I'm going to have you go on this side. Here, and I'll give you a straw, your own straw. And so, before she does it, so should we talk about how is she going to blow it? Is she going to blow it with all her might?
Yeah. What if you put the straw ends at your
Well, what if she sucked it up?
So take your breath in and then put your mouth to it.
Okay, so do we think that would help?
It would cause you.
Oh yeah,
So if you do it in before, okay, but like if you blow it low. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one out. So what
And
happened
then
when
your thing over here kind of fell to the side.
yeah, we'll try a couple different things. Okay, so what happened this time? She put it right there and she blew it. What happened?
Good, and it kind of caused one section and fell over it.
Okay.
Yeah, on one section. I should do like.
What's similar between draw
Think of the unit? Okay.
Yeah, but
So,
that would move it around.
okay. Say that again?
Start in there. You would like move it in there.
Okay.
So you're losing areas on that.
Okay. So do we think we should try something different this time?
Maybe like just move like take it out and move it around. Or don't put it in all at once.
Okay. What was your idea? Okay. So is it Suri? Okay, great. All right. So what were we gonna have Suri try?
I think not all that straw in the dirt. And then I think the outcome will be that like it'll be more of like a smooth and not like a deep.
How can we instruct her on how to blow it?
Blow hard. Yeah, blow hard just like
What would be another way we could have her try it? Besides blowing her. All right, so we'll have you try doing that first. All right, so what do we think was different than when Francis did it? And what happened when Francis did it?
nothing really.
So how do you think this would be similar to wind?
Wind blows in the same way when like in nature, if there's a big like mound of dirt, like for example in the back, I know I suppose when there was like one big dirt pile for the house or something, they're moving back there, and if it like over time it started to spill locked in the shape.
All right, so what do we think? Do we think that that is more similar to the first time we did it or the second time? Your example that you had. So do you think what you were talking about would be more likely to happen from the first try or the second? Do we have to second?
Everything
Why do you think that?
because the straw's not in it,
So then if this is a solid.
and then more of like that smoother mud, that deep part, and then all the mud doesn't fall, like dirt doesn't fall into the crevice that it made.
All right, so what do we think we could relate these two things to in the real world? These two processes that are happening. So we decided this was the wind, okay? And how does, can someone explain again, how does the wind affect, how would it affect a mound of dirt?
It would flatten.
Spread around the But there's wind not just coming from that one straw, the little place, but it's coming from all the whole thing. But like not from the sides, but just that one side, and it's going all over the
And so the wind would be not the same as the straw, right? When we did it, it was controlled. All right, so what do you think you can relate the water to?
like flooding. Like if there was rain out there on the dirt,
There was rain, what happened?
well, the rain would just be coming from above where they when they go down the same spot, like the wind.
Okay.
So it would come down on everything, and it would get flooded.
Okay, so how do you think this would, how do you think we could have done this so that it would be like the rain?
Like I'd try to like this, it's like the water can spread it away. Oh yeah.
What was that? What was it? Like water? Okay.
Or like kind of like if you put like a bug in a jar or something and they need air bubbles, you can kind of like put holes in the top of the jar or whatever.
Alright, so what is something that happened in both of our scenarios?
It at least moved the dirt.
Okay.
Now we're gonna do.
Both of them had like a way of
Okay. So what was something that happened here? So we talked about the result. You think that dirt moved. So what was something about how that happened that was similar? How did the dirt move?
Well, kind of got like swampy and
First I'm gonna have
What was that? Pressure. So where did the pressure come from?
the straws and the.
So we talked about some forces in the real world. We said that rain would be similar to this. What do you think this
You're
happens?
gonna just fill out what do you think will happen question.
It's not like a deep crevice, it's not controlled.
We can talk about
So what are some other forcing things in the real world that we could have tested on these two mounds there? Tornado.
what do you think will happen?
But then we got the suck up we're doing now.
I'm gonna put it
So what do we think would happen with a tornado to the dirt? Alright, so one thing I want you to do on your sheet of paper, you're gonna do a roll it. So one thing I want you to do on your sheet of paper is first draw a pile, a mound of dirt. No, so you need to do a little screenshot of a mound of dirt. And what I want you to do is either pick one of these ways we tested it and tell me or show me what it would look like. So you might draw a couple bits, so show me how it would look.
Okay.
Choose green or red.
Yeah. It's like time. Sure, grab it.
Okay, so now, do not answer, so now we're gonna watch. Tyler, right? Yeah, you have one,
So you draw it.
Yeah. So this would be like
That would be the first one.
So how did you think about it? What did you draw? Where are you moving that?
Okay, melting the bottle is not part of it. So, it's okay. It's fine, that's why. Alright, so now, what did you observe that just happened? Some of you predicted it was gonna explode off the bottle. Some of you said it was gonna expand. Okay. Some of you said it was gonna expand. You said it was gonna explode and go kaboom. It did not. So it was gonna be like a hot air balloon. So what did you observe?
Alright, so now it looks like we have our timeline. Can some people or volunteer to share what they did, what they drew, or how they thought about it?
I think I had somehow
this was my start.
Okay.
Okay.
What else did you do?
What force were you, did you
And
use?
that shows me.
Okay.
And we kind of blew it over and made it flatter, and the dirt, like just kind of came off of it, and to make like a deep crevice, like it was when it was controlled through the stream. And then the second time it just did the same thing, you got smaller.
Alright, someone else?
Okay.
and then it got like to the side. It was still kind of a little bit flat.
So why did you draw a curve in yours? Alright, can we have one more person share what they did?
The air inside of it warmed up too.
So how long do you think it would take to see the effects? So we drew a little bit of a timeline. How long do you think it would take for these effects to, for you to be able to start seeing them?
It really depends on and like how like if it's like tiny hair, that you have it together.
So do you think it would happen as quickly as we did it on this one? Okay, so how would it be different than when we experimented and in the real world?
Well, there's different variables. For that, there would have to be like a big
So how do you know like
Okay.
You're always
We'll talk about it first. And then by your answers, so
So how do we think this would affect something even bigger? So this affects, we had effects on this, it was so small, we did a small scale. How do we think it would affect a mountain or something bigger? How long would it take? Like years? Why do you think it takes so long?
Because it's like, it's really big and it's strong and broad. Kind of like
Okay, so it would take a long time. Alright, so how would we represent, or how can you relate this to this? How long do you think the mountains would take? Okay, so what do we think would be the difference between how long it would take a hill to look different, or this to look different, or a mountain to look different?
I'd say for the size of the mountain, they're probably like, if it was like super, not super windy, but windy every day, it would take about a month.
Okay. So what is something that might have more sudden effect on breaking down? So we talked about things that might take, what were some, how long did you think that it was going to take? Alright, what are some things that might affect this and breaking it down that might happen more suddenly?
But a tornado would just suck it all up.
Well, yeah, then
No,
so
like,
that would happen more right away. So if this happened to a mountain, do you think it would still, what would happen on a mountain with the sudden changes?
Depends on how steep the mountain is.
So how do you think the steepness of a mountain affects it?
If it's like tilted, then it would take less pressure of wind or rain to fall for it to fall. And then if it's like slippery like rocks or fall into crevices, then it might just like go down the side.
Straight up, it would like go down easier because it would be like instead of the wind going like
So there'd be more direction. Is that what you're saying? So there'd be more direction.
Well, like the pressure from the top makes the bottom collapse underneath. And the gases going into the bottom.
Alright, so I want you to turn your sheets over, and I want you to draw a line down the middle, and, or a line, so you have two categories. So we talked about a few different things that would affect breaking down this pile or this stream. So first of all, what do you think, actually how do you think, what was this process? And so what is erosion? Yep, so erosion is when things are broken down, so by the factor has to be put on, talk about how pressure looks like. So what are some of the different, what I want you to do for kind of a closing activity is to talk about, or to write down some of the pressures, because erosion can be talking about the forces. So I want you to write on one side things that happen that we noticed that we thought it might take a month or it might take a year, and then on the other side I want you to write things that we think that would change right away.
Things that would make it or
So forces.
So last question is, why do you think these changes occurred when we did this?
the cliff melted.
You guys can talk together if you guys want to talk about your bigger things.
Why did these changes occur? Some of the changes were that they expanded.
So was your idea, sorry? So what what do you mean by erosion? By eroded?
Heavy rain. Harder.
Order, that's harder. Let's write what we saw for our final observation.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or
I would think, what do you think?
what people like.
It's just like the spring winds, you know, that
So like really
So how are you guys thinking about this? What makes a difference in the right column and the left column? How do you guys What was that?
how hard like the pressure is. So just like the rain.
Normal. Say that again?
And then, this question could be tweaked because if you say that, because if there's a lake range, it's going to make a difference, and it's not going to it's gonna like break the whole thing down.
So what would
But it will change.
So you don't think how much do you think it will change? What would change more?
Slightly, but not. If we put it upside down, no dirt. So the question,
So how do you think the question will change?
you would say like, I know exactly what I want to say. Cold air is denser. It weighs more, there's more to it.
So what do you
Okay, so now,
Okay, so what did we say? What were some of the items we had on the list on the right?
So you're saying that
The ones that happen right away. Okay.
we do it on higher, so I already said flexible.
How can we categorize? So we have two categories. How can we think we can categorize the two different groups? Or what is a title we could give for a category? So some of the items we have in here, how can we categorize them?
Okay, so here I have it.
So what do we think is the difference between the items in each category? Okay, so what was that? Okay, so what could we categorize them as? So the first one is, or the one on the right is natural disasters, but the first one is natural weather or regular weather. So how often do natural disasters happen? Okay. What was that? So do you think there are any, or which one?
the time there's so much feeling. There's normally one every 5 seconds.
So which one do you think, or which one have you ever experienced or think would be common in Iowa?
Okay. Somebody said
So what did we end up categorizing then?
let's turn it upside down. No, let's do hot air. We'll start with hot air because you said hot air rises.
And then one thing I want to go back to before we finish up is, so we talked about the time it would take. So how long did the ones on the left take and how long did the ones on the right take? For which one? So we think the ones on the left side. So which ones did we experiment with today? So which ones?
The hurricane, yeah, it'll still fill up. They will get more because of like the strong winds from a hurricane and like the like
So I'm gonna take it off.
So how long did this take? How long did it take for the dirt to go down when we experimented with it today?
It depends on where the rain's coming from, where the wind's coming from, like north and southwest.
Now we're gonna,
Like, because we talked about how it's on the back, front, and the side,
So what would be a terrible way to get call that? Or as a factor, what kind of factor would that be? Direction?
yeah, weather direction.
So let's do one more column below. Alright, so for the last one, let's do factors then. So let's write down, so what was our first factor that Charlie said?
okay,
So the factor that you, or, talk about doing.
No, that's not.
okay, so what just happened?
So what?
You said we need to try it.
But now since it keeps going to the top, cold is the coldest.
This is new column. Alright, so what are some other factors? So one thing that we talked about is the direction. So if we move it over here, it would look different than if we move it over here. What is another thing we talked about when we were doing this experiment? Have you, okay, so what is, how could we describe it as pressure? Okay.
Let's try it with some
So how would you So how would we explain that for another factor? So what do you mean by man-made? So what did you say? Or one word I remember you guys talked about before too is control. So when we did this, was this controlled? So what would it do? So they're, so do you think they're, like Francis was talking about, okay, so where's times in weather where it's controlled and you know exactly where it's going to go? So I know some guys didn't write fires. Do you think that fires can be
I've never actually seen like mud burn, but yeah.
And we can feel,
what was the comment you made?
That's another natural disaster.
air is weird. Like over the summer, there was I think that would be like.
How do you think that? So how do you think that affects the soil?
Think how many Japanese wheels there are.
How do you think that affects the soil?
Well, it definitely does.
Yeah, because like
It does, but the trees using the soil to stay there. I mean, the roots are normally just as big. It goes down just as far as
when I
it
left, you
goes
were
up. So the soil's touching or connected and stuff like that.
Alright, so today we talked about gravity changes. So what do you think we should explore next time? If we talked about things that happen all the time, what do you think we could explore next time? Moses, do you want to get here? Let's